Okay, Management Act and Policies, which will be Lecture 3. According to the white papers, the transformation of the public service, the government's vision is as follows. Service orientation and commitment to the provision of high quality to all South Africans in an unbiased and impartial manner. Responsiveness to all the needs of the public, as well as human and caring in its dealing with them. Responsiveness to all sections and level of South African society to be efficient, effective, and productive civil service. Respect to the rule of law, to apply that all the laws apply to all of the citizens, that you must have respect for human rights, must be honest, transparent, and accountable. And you also want to maintain a fair practice for all public service workers, irrespective of race, gender, and class. Effectiveness of government and participation of people in it are what constitutes good governance. So what else contributes to good governance? You want to curb corruption, you must be efficient, must be rational in allocating resources, improving legitimate freedom of association, of speech, of press, above all individuals, rule of the law, guaranteed of civil and human rights, transparency. In order to ensure that people are getting the necessarily and effective service, the government structure should be guided by the following principles. A clear understanding of the constitution of the country and its implementation process, effective legal framework which define the standard of behavior for public servants and enforce the correct systems of investigation and prosecution, effective accountability mechanisms. So you must also have effective maintenance of law and order, advancement of welfare for the people, development for clear policies, workable code of conduct, respect for the rule of law, definition of policy, a plan or course of action as of a government, political party, or business intended to influence and determine decision actions and other matters. So the Public Service Act and regulations. So in 1994, they developed a large amount of policies to address a number of issues in South Africa. And these resulted in some good practice management and also some principles. This calls for all managers to develop their skills and enhance their knowledge in order to enable them to implement their plans and policies effectively and efficiently. Implementation of act and policy is crucial to address challenges being faced by the government. Regulation of the Public Service, amended in 14 May 2010. It is applicable to anyone employed as a civil servant that provides a service to the public. Implement to the department heads to manage employee within the management. Employment Equity Act. So it is just to ensure that everyone gets a fair opportunity, is not mistreated. Okay, so it's to promote equal opportunity, fair treatment in employment through elimination of unfair discriminations, implementing affirmative actions measured to readjust the disadvantage in employment experienced by the previously disadvantaged group, to ensure that equitable representation in all occupational categories and levels in the workforce. Prevention of unfair discrimination, so they may not discriminate anyone against the following terms: race, gender, pregnancy, marital status, and family responsibility. And also ethnic or social origin, color, sexual orientation, age, disability, religion, HIV status, belief, political opinion, culture, language, and birth. Medical testing. Medical testing of an employee is permissible only when legislation requires testing or when this is justifiable for various reasons. HIV testing is prohibited unless such testing is determined to be justified by the Labour Court. Psychological testing and similar assessments are prohibited unless it impacts the employee's performance or if it doesn't count against him. Now look at affirmative actions. Affirmative actions in South Africa refers to the policy that takes factors into race, color, religion, sex, and national origin into consideration in order to benefit an unrepresented group, usually as a mean to counter the effect of a history of discrimination. The focus of such policy ranges from employment to education to public contracting and health programs. The focus of such policy affirmative action measures the intended to ensure that suitability qualified employees from designated groups have equal employment opportunities and are fairly represented in all occupational categories and level of workforce. So such measures you look at identification and elimination of barriers with a negative impact on the designated group, promote diversity, making reasonable accommodation for people from the designated group, retention, development and training designated groups, preferential treatment and numerical goals to ensure equitable representation. Human resources are absolutely critical for effective organization functioning. Procuring human resources or staffing includes planning for the future employment need for the organization. Steps to take to meet the plans are achieved via recruiting and selection, promotion, layoff, transfer, and early retirement. So you have recruitment and selection. Recruitment is the process of attracting individuals to apply for the job that are open. The goal is to attract the qualified candidates, not merely large a number of candidates. Internal recruiting. Here you're looking at considering your present employees as a candidate for the opening. A policy of promotion from within can help build morale and keep high quality employees from leaving the firm. Disadvantage, it has a ripple effect. If the opening has been filled by an internal candidate, the vacant post will have to be filled. External recruitment attracts individuals outside of the organization to apply for the position with the organization. So you have different methods of recruitment. You have walk-in, you have referrals, you have colleague recruiting, advertising, employment agencies, headhunting, professional associations, and temporal employment. And the method of applying, you can look at application forms such as CVs, and then referral, reference and background checks, life history information, interviews, ability tests, job knowledge tests, work sample and job tryout, physical and psychological requirement, personality and honesty. So in the interview, there's a process. It is a process of dynamic interaction during which mutual communication takes place. Three basic functions of an interview: it determines the experience of the candidate, judges the applicant's personality and motivation, evaluates the applicant's cognitive functioning. Now, in the interview, it obviously allows the employer to assess your cognitive functioning, personality, and motivation. Also allows the candidate to ask such questions to clear up uncertainties. Two-way communication can be made, and also you can develop and to explore skills and ability required for the job that might not be included in your CV or application form. Subjective is their nature. Information obtained is evaluated on the grounds of the interviewer feeling regarding its appropriateness. Employer might not have the ability to obtain the appropriate information from the applicant. Incorrect interpretation of the information given. Of the implementation given. Okay, ill-informed applicant with regard to satisfaction of occupational needs. Guidelines for dismissing the employees. You must give as much warning as possible. Sit down one-on-one with the individual, 15 minutes max. Provide written information on the several benefits. Hear about the termination from a manager, not from a colleague. If appropriate, express appreciation for what the employer has contributed. No room for confusion, no time for debate during termination, no personal comments, keep the conversational professional, don't rush a fired employee offsite unless it's a security issue. Don't fire people on significant dates. Don't fire employees when they're on vacation or just have returned. Resignation, it's a decision initiated by the employee, which includes quitting and retirement. Dismissal, initiated by the employer. Discharge for specific reasons such as incompetence, violation of rules, dishonesty, laziness, and absenteeism. Employment contract. In the employment contract, you should have the commence date, salary, bonus, increase percentage, hours to be worked, overtime, annual leave, sick leave, maternity leave, the UIF, and benefits. So the job description, you want to look at tasks, responsibilities, backup, standard requirements, reporting of work and tasks. And then the service contract must be signed, the condition of the service in confidentiality, basic conditions of the Employment Act, job description, and disciplinary procedure. And that is lecture 3.